So hold on a minute. Let me just check. Okay. So last night, I tweeted the president and our House representative here in Georgia about why had we been forgotten as beef producers here in the USA in the USMCA. Today I have been attacked by representation on multiple things, multiple platforms. They are fired up and they are coming at me and others like me that are voicing our opinions. And apparently we've struck an accord. The Packers, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, higher ups and whatnot do not want anything changed. The reality is currently what's going to happen in our industry is with USMCA, we're looking at approximately a 30% increase in imported cattle into the United States over what we currently have. And if you've been in the cattle industry very long, you understand what that means. That means that it's going to get worse, a lot worse than it is now. We are already at break-even prices for mediocre to small producers. This is going to have detrimental effects on a lot of us in the U.S. cattle industry that are producers. We need to get together to try to stop this. We lost in the House. We couldn't get anything done. Quite frankly, honestly, the truth is the Packers and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and others have paid our politicians very well to try to stop any efforts that we have, because they are currently clearing. These are not my numbers. These are numbers by news agencies such as RFD-TV and others, that the Packers are clearing over $700 per animal that they run through their facilities. Cleared after cost. That's more than we even get out of our animals each before cost. The system is broken. They have a monopoly. I understand there's a lot of people that believes the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and think that my theories are terrible. But if you believe the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, then you should be perfectly happy with the way our industry is currently in the markets that we have. We have lost more than 50% of our cattle's value since 2014. It has been proven that country of origin mandates work. Another thing that we have working against us that happened since then is they increased the import percentages, which is about to happen again in the USMCA. I highly doubt we'll be able to get that changed, but we might be able to get cool put back in, which will severely help us in selling beef. Because if we could get the labels accurately, rather than the false labels they have and everything is American at this point, when it legally that way done, we can turn things around, hopefully, and at least somewhat bring our industry back to where we're getting somewhat decent prices in our markets. We cannot compete with foreign cattle from other places around the world that do not have the same health and safety standards as us. We need your help right now in the Senate in trying to get basically a provision put in for us here in the U.S. as cattle producers to try to get mandated country of origin labeling put back in. What that means is every animal that is killed here in the USA has to be labeled accurately, or shipped in frozen has to be labeled accurately from the country at which it comes from. I'm not for RFID, I think it's ID tags or whatever for each cow here in the United States. We do not need a system set up in the United States to prove our own cattle are from the United States. That should be handled by the buyers, the packers, or whoever is importing the cattle from those foreign countries into here at the points of entry of ports into the United States. That should be their burden of cost due to the fact that they are the ones bringing those animals in here to make the product gain, not farmers and ranchers and producers all across America. It is not our position to pay for them to do that. They should have to eat that cost just like we would if we had to go out and buy some more supplies for our own animals that we're raising to make a profit off of. It should not be dumped on our backs. I'm not for that. We don't need it. But we need your help in the Senate. I know that a lot of you probably have already called House representatives and probably got the same treatment I did, where you got no response at all. They told you they would call you back, or you talked to someone who honestly on the other end of the line just did not care. But we can't stop here. We are making an impact because it's getting louder and the noises are getting greater to get this put back in. I'm not happy with the U.S. cattle industry the way it is, and we need mandated country of origin labeling. Currently, all the deals the president is working on that he thinks are great because he doesn't know the actual truth spectrum to all this and how it all actually works, I believe, because the National Cattlemen's Association is telling him lies, and one thing that's not in favor of actual U.S. cattle producers because they're heavily influenced by the Beef Board, which has foreign influence on it and packer influence due to the change that was made years ago when they went from the National Cattlemen's Association to National Cattlemen's Beef Association. That was when the Beef Board got influence into the National Cattlemen's Association that was set up to represent us. That's why I'm asking people to please leave this group because they're working against us. I'm sorry if you are a strong believer in them, but the fact is they are not for us. They have everything exactly the way they want it right now. Are you happy with your markets? I'm not. We need change. Our industry has a monopoly over it by these packers, and we're all going to be put out of business eventually, or we're going to be forced to be like chicken growers, and we're going to have people tell us what we can and cannot do from the time the calves hit the ground. We need mandated country of origin labeling so that way we can distinguish foreign cattle from our own cattle, because currently everything that comes through the U.S., whether it's frozen, live, on the hoof, or whatever, if it goes to a packer facility and is inspected by the USDA, it's considered product to USA, which means any deals made with China, Japan, Europe, or etc. going forward are meaningless for imported beef, because all those the beef that they're currently eating that sits there will be imported through here, go through packer facilities, which will make packers even more money here in the United States, and then they'll turn around and be labeled Product USA and shipped right back out. Or those animals will take the place of ours that will be shipped out. And it will make no difference for us as producers. We need this law put back in full effect the way it was. Voluntary is useless. Voluntary will do nothing. Why would a packer who can buy a foreign animal from another country for less price than our animals here put a name on it that's going to hurt them? If they can buy that animal for cheaper out of this country, ship it in here, and clear the difference of what our markets are here in the United States, why would they put any label at all? They will put nothing. This has happened before. We've lived through this before, and we've been through this before. It makes no effect whatsoever. The only thing it does is keeps them from lying. But no label is just as bad as a fake label. It does no good for us in the future. We need your help now. If the reason why we want this put in the USMCA is because it will void any ruling that the WTO, World Trade Organization, has going forward, because Canada and Mexico will be tied to it if they sign it. And then they'll have no way to go to the World Trade Organization and dispute it because they agreed to it. And it will void any World Trade Organization ruling for Canada and Mexico in the past that they had. That's the only way we can get around it. If we wait until after this deal is signed and goes through, then will it be the same effect that it was the last time. It'll be just run back through the World Trade Organization. It may take a year or so. We'll have decent markets for a little while, but once it's all done and over with and pushed through their court system, we will be forced to get rid of it again. We need this now. That is why the Packers and others that are influenced by the Packers are fighting so hard to try and stop us from doing this. They're pouring money into politicians. They're pouring money into other groups that you get your information from. We need this. This is coming from a cattle producer here in the United States that has been doing this for years. It's proven that it works. It worked years ago, a few years back. We need this restored. We also would love to get lowered import percentages back, because that was the other thing that really hurt us. But unfortunately, that's probably going to be a lot even harder thing to push and work for right now. So we'll get there eventually. Hopefully we can get something done there, but we absolutely have to have this to do us any good at all in the future. Thank y'all for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.